Welcome to another episode of Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. I am your host, Lionel McDonald. So, we're going to talk a little bit about sneakers and the state of signature sneakers in the NBA, but also the WNBA. So, not 100%, been a little under the weather. Technically, I actually have vertigo still, recovering, but felt like as I can't do the things that I want to do, can't do things athletically, can't do uh, things at work, why not hop on the pod and give y'all an episode? So, very thrilling game last night in the NBA final, game five. Halliburton a little bit banged up yesterday and just wasn't his best. And if we've learned anything during this playoff, as Halliburton goes, so go the Pacers. So, very interesting game, back and forth. Ultimately, um, the Pacers kept cutting the deficit down and kept getting us extended by OKC. The Thunder, Shea Gilgis Alexander SGA was amazing, but Jalen Williams was the star of the show yesterday. 40 points in a decisive game five. Um, Now, hey, we got some good efforts out of TJ McCollum, which probably should have been on the bench. Uh, Literally not at all, particularly with Halliburton not being his best, and Pascal did Pascal things. But Pacers fall. I'm not a Pacers fan whatsoever. I am cheering for the Thunder as I got my Oklahoma City Thunder jersey in behind me, and it's not the only one I have. Obviously, I have a Melo one because I'm a huge Carmelo fan, but I'm a huge fan of Russell Westbrook. And during the MVP days and the triple double days, I definitely have a signed Westbrook jersey as well. So Thunder up 3-2. Game six is on Thursday. The Thunder are one win away from wrapping up their first NBA title. It could be something special. But we're talking sneakers and also basketball. So I'm doing my best to kind of get through this episode. So this episode all spun from the Jordan Brand announcement of Nepheesa Collier being signed to Jordan Brand. Apparently, she's supposed to get a shoe next season. So it's amazing news. And if you know Nepheesa, aka Queen Fee, she is one of the best, if not the best player all around in the WNBA. I first got a chance to see her play live as there was an exhibition game, which ultimately led to the Toronto Tempo being birthed a couple years ago. But got a chance to see her play the Chicago Sky as she's part of the Minnesota Lynx, and she was absolutely incredible in this game that I saw a couple years ago back here in Toronto. Passing, defense, being able to score, being able to share the ball. She was just an all around throw. Like I never was like, how did I've watched this league for years, and I really never got wind or caught eyes of how good she is. Fast forward, going into last year, the Lynx go on a run. The Lynx make it all the way to the NBA or the WNBA final, and was a hair short. And obviously, some controversy in how that all went down. Um, as the New York Liberty end up winning the title, and rightfully so. They were a great team, maybe the best team in the league, but Nepheesa Collier has not slowed down. She worked with Brianna Stewart, actually, who is on the Liberty, and they created Unrivaled. I'm wearing an Unrivaled shirt. So for those watching on YouTube, it's also available on Spotify, Apple, and Google. She was part of Unrivaled. She was part of the Owls. The Owls win the championship, and the shirt over my left shoulder, Nepheesa Collier was the MVP. Fast forward now into this WNBA season, and she is head and shoulders better than anyone else. She's almost averaging 30 points a game. Her team only lost their first game last week. It looks like, again, the Liberty and the Lynx are on a collision course to meet once again in the WNBA finals. So amazing news. Nepheesa is missed one game, but she literally picked up where she left off and has continued to do an amazing thing in the league. Now, she wouldn't be the first person in the league to get her own shoe. We know we just had literally the greatest release of any signature WNBA player ever, including Cheryl Swoops, respectfully. The Asia Wilson launch of the Aura and then ultimately into some of the other colorways that have launched since then was absolutely flawless, from the pink couches to telling her story to being fearless and relentless and all the things that came out through the Nike ad campaign. Simply outstanding. We're already on Brianna Stewart's third shoe with Puma, the Stewie 3. And obviously the Stewie 4 will be in the works and coming in the future. And then this summer we will also get Sabrina Ionescu's shoes. So the Sabrina 3, huge success with the Sabrina 2. That is the top 5. I can't say it's second. Top 5 worn shoe. I can't even say the WNBA. In the NBA, men have gravitated to how light, how comfortable, and the traction of this shoe. It is one of the best shoes that is on the market. So with Asia Wilson and Sabrina and Brianna Stewart, there's some buzz there obviously around the WNBA, but some of the amazing ladies that are now getting their own shoe. Nepheesa Collier will obviously be the next one to miss. But what about the ones that were missing? What about, as they call her, the cash cow? The one that is moving the needle in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark missed 5 games, just came back and literally put on one of the great shooting performances we've ever seen in the W. She doesn't have her own shoe yet. Now, June 30th, I think we're supposed to get it. We're supposed to get a Kobe 5. That's, I think, her favorite model. We're going to get an Indiana Fever Kobe 5, so that Caitlin will wear. She's already debuted it once this season, but it's not her own signature shoe. Are we missing the moment? I know we want to take time to curate. We didn't want to rush, from what Nike says, we didn't want to rush through and, spoil the spotlight that we had all lined up for Asia Wilson, but Caitlin Clark's time is now. If you can believe, people stopped watching the WNBA. The viewership went down 50% because she was injured for 5 games. They've all now come roaring back as she put on an incredible performance against the Liberty on Saturday that just passed on the 14th. But where is Caitlin Clark's shoe? Or will we get it by the playoffs? Or we will have to wait a whole nother season when the Toronto Tempo, here where I live, will have their own team. Who knows at this point? We're also missing some other stars, Paige Beckers that's just got in the league. Definitely the energy she's created is going to need her own shoe. We've been waiting for a Kelsey Plum shoe for several years now out of the Under Armour camp. And now that Curry has his own section of Under Armour basketball, it's got to be a moment of time. But hey, how do we fumble the bag in this area? Kelsey Plum just left the Aces in the offseason, got traded to where she is with the Los Angeles Sparks. This was a perfect opportunity to launch her own shoe. Now, I know things are not great in the Under Armour world, but this was a moment that we fumbled. Kelsey should have her own shoe. She's in the West Coast in one of the biggest markets in all of basketball, never mind North America, and she still doesn't have a shoe. So there's definitely some things that we're going to have to work on it and try to figure out. As we flip over to the men's side, we have the 2 biggest stars in the series. Tyrese Halliburton, and he's a Pacer. I'm a Knicks fan. I don't care. I don't like him. He didn't play great yesterday. Feel bad for him that he was hurt because you always want to be able to play your best. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, aka SGA, the reigning MVP of the NBA. Both have a shoe coming, unfortunately, this fall. We have the Shai one, which we've known about literally since All-Star. And then after the dramatics of what happened in game 1 of the NBA final, after obviously the Pacers had ousted my Knicks in 6, Tyrese had this incredible moment where he hits this game-winning shot. And then earlier during that day, Puma announced that there is going to be a Hali 1. Halliburton shows up at the presser with a pair of shoes in his hand, slaps him on the counter. must be the shoes. What a great moment that we had. We have no shoe. Where's the quick strike? These are things that easily could have happened. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the other side. We have a shoe for him. It's coming. We've seen the images. People are very interested, obviously, because he's the MVP. The Thunder were the best team in the league. They're now in the finals. They're one game away. We have no shoe. Both guys could have really benefited from having some quick strike release. If you made him a pair, either one, why couldn't we launch it during the final? Whoever wins, there better be some type of sneaker that releases. It's just a missed opportunity. So we're already talking about Caitlin Clark and us fumbling the bag, and there should be already a shoe for her. This is her second year. What are we waiting for? And then now Halliburton climbs the mountain, and on the unlikely Pacers, and they play a different style than anybody else. It's almost reminiscent of basketball that we've seen in the 90s and the early 2000s. And then this all-around, both offensively and defensive team led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Both of them, the Hali one and the Shai one, are on our doorstep. This is going to help change the narrative. Like, I wouldn't say maybe to the extent that the AE1 did. We're waiting on the AE2, and that doesn't look great. So maybe that's going to go in the scrap heap, and we're going to have to go back and redo the shoe again. But there is huge opportunity for these two stars to have their shoe available to the public. It's a long time between now and training camp and ultimately the start of the NBA season in late October, early November. But the fact is, we don't have a shoe for either guy. We have no signature athlete, for that matter, in this NBA final. You got to have a star player. A star player is essential to winning an NBA championship. Now, hey, we got a 40-piece from Jalen Williams. We've got amazing games out of Pascal Siakam in this series. And then obviously we got the two stars in Halliburton and SGA. But we don't have a signature sneaker from any of them. So it's a little concerning that these brands are not putting sneakers out there. But who am I? There's always a master plan behind what they're going to do. And I'm sure when everything hits the ground, it will all make sense. It just doesn't make sense today when we got 3-2 Thunder with the season on the line for the Pacers now going home, and we got no signature sneaker. We have no rumbling of a signature sneaker that will be out in the next 12 to 14 days to commemorate whether the Thunder win or whether the Pacers win. Please, God, let me know. Please, please, please don't let it be the Pacers. But you get my drift. This is an opportunity to have a signature sneaker. I won't be surprised. Does Jordan at least get Nepheesa Collier some type of PE? Get her in something. You know, at least we're getting a Caitlin Clark Kobe 5 PE. And it's not even a PE. It's an Indiana Fever, but Caitlin Clark is definitely tied to this, as that's her favorite Kobe model. So a lot is happening. The state of signature sneakers is up there. You know, obviously we got LeBron, we got KD, we got AE, we got James Harden's shoe, which is done very well. People are still wearing Damian Lillard's shoe, and that still is getting, you know, positive reviews. You know, days of the gone are that we used to have a Paul George shoe, but also, and hey, you know, we got Klay Thompson shoe, which is with Anta, and then now we've got Kyrie shoe, the Kai 1 Speed, which has been, as I've said on this podcast before, go back and listen to, I want to say it's like episode 34 of season number 5. The Anta Kai 1 Speed is maybe the best performance basketball shoe on the market. Go check out the episode. I break you down the specs and everything that goes along with it. But we're in a different era. This is not an era being carried by Michael Jordan. He hasn't played in like 20 plus years. Kobe Bryant is gone, but now Kobe's are becoming more and more accessible. We got coming in July, we have a Kobe 6. It's a WNBA one. It's like, we've seen it a couple times. Jalen Brunson definitely wore it in during the Knicks playoff run. Orange and white. It's going to be amazing to have now Kobe's way more accessible than they ever have. The first half of the year definitely was rough, but now you're going to have some of these Kobe's readily available to people all over the world and in North America, specifically where I live. So this market is totally up in the air. And hey, gone are the days where essentially Reebok ruled the roost. We used to have Kemps. We used to have obviously Shaq with the Shaqnosis and some of those other shoes, Shaq Attack. And then we can't forget about Allen Iverson, which arguably had the best shoe on the market in the Reebok question. And then the series of answers that we got throughout his entire career. We had CPs and Mellows in the early to late 2000s, but things have changed. We have a whole new generation of basketball stars. So who will be next? Who will be the next one that gets their own shoe? Will Jalen Williams, his performance here, get him his own shoe? Probably not. He's going to have to put in some more work. We know that Cooper Flag is around the corner. That's going to be playing for the Dallas Mavericks. So will there be a Flag one that will happen at some point during the NBA? But not all these signature shoes work. Luka's got his own shoe, mixed results. We definitely know that there's been some good energy around Puma and Melo Ball shoe. We went around Melo Ball 4 or MB4, and kids love this shoe. It's one of their favorite shoes, all the bright colors. Zion shoe, Zion keeps getting into trouble, and it hasn't been anywhere near the impact that we thought he'd have, not only in the league, but also in the sneaker market. So he was supposed to be this generational talent that really has not panned out. So a lot to think about. Nepheesa Collier, congratulations on getting your own shoe through the Jordan brand. No better landing spot for anyone. We need a shoe for Kelsey Plum, definitely. We're going to get something for Caitlin Clark, and that's going to change what people think about basketball shoes, particularly on the women's side. And then we already know, we've already seen it on foot. Halliburton and obviously SGA shoe, the Shai one, but those are not available probably till the next season starts, when one of these two teams will be the defending champion. That's all I got for you today. Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life, talking basketball and signature sneakers and some of the great things that are on the way, not here yet, which we wish were her, and then kind of a little time warp into some of the things that have already happened. But that's all I got for you today. Sneaks, Rhymes, and Life. We out.